Gosar from Arizona will have 5 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me preface my comments with the following. I am not a financial analyst. I am not an accountant. I am not a lawyer. But I do have skin in the game, as do most Americans. Most Americans are compelled to invest in the markets through their employer-sponsored retirement plans, whether they are 401k plans or public or union pension plans. The money largely goes to Wall Street. The public needs assurances that those who handle our money and our retirement futures are playing by the rules and are being fair and are honoring their fiduciary responsibility and obligations. The public assurances come from the Securities Exchange Commission. The SEC is supposed to be guarding the henhouse. This hearing raises troubling questions. Who is watching the henhouse, the fox or the guard? Mr. Chairman, recent news reports have focused on David Becker's conflict of interest. But this hearing is not about a single incident. This problem is actually far deeper and goes to the very heart of management practices at the SEC. Every organization needs a set of mechanisms to prevent or detect fraud, waste, or mismanagement. These are commonly known as internal controls. It would appear that internal controls at the SEC are not functioning properly. 1. The Government Accounting Office tells us that the SEC is unable to reliably track its finances because it cannot control its own financial reporting. 2. The SEC's Inspector General tells us that 30 employees, including an assistant regional director, viewed sexually explicit materials at work, and only one was actually fired. Was anyone else ever disciplined? 3. Now the news media tells us that the SEC's general counsel was allowed to advise the commissioners on the Madoff case when he had a personal financial interest. All these matters represent a breakdown in oversight and management, a failure of internal controls. The sad irony is that the SEC is the Federal agency in charge of making sure publicly traded companies have effective internal controls and public governance structures. In fact, Mr. Chairman, if these events happened at a publicly traded company, the SEC would be investigating itself. And what would be the penalties? Federal agencies are subject to the Federal Managers Financial Integrity Act, which dictates that they provide annual assurances to Congress that their internal controls are adequate. This law has been in effect since 1982 and governs not just financial management, but program management as well. The Federal Managers Financial Integrity Act is within this committee's jurisdiction. Therefore, this hearing has an important legislative and oversight purpose, the Commission's compliance with the law and others. Mr. Chairman, the anecdotal examples of internal breakdown are symptoms of a much larger systemic breakdown. Since there is no SEC to investigate the SEC, today I challenge my colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time.